Okay, good morning, everybody. I guess you can hear me. Sorry. So my name's Adrien Bullier. I'm a senior project advisor at CINEA. So for those of you who don't know us, we're one of the executive agencies of the European Commission, and we manage a lot of the funding programs related to the Green Deal, among which the energy efficiency part of Horizon 2020, and now the Life Clean Energy Transition program, which is one of the 4 sub-programs under LIFE, and for which a number of you know that there's a coming deadline to apply on the 16th of November. If you want more information, you can go to our stand over there. So today I'll be moderating this session, which is going to focus on a very interesting initiative set up by the Romanian Green Building Council quite a few years ago now. And so we'll have the pleasure of listening to Monica Ardeleanu from the Romanian Green Building Council. And she's accompanied today by Eva MERHEIM-EYRE from Habitat for Humanity. And we'll also have the pleasure to have, coming from Ukraine, VOLODYMYR SMOLII, who represents the Association for Energy Efficient Cities in Ukraine. So they're going to present a bit what the initiative was, how it came about, and how it's now expanding from Romania to Central Eastern Europe, and now also to Spain and Portugal, and I forgot because it's becoming worldwide. So we're going to have, as in the other sessions, half an hour for them to present what they have been doing, and after half an hour, I will stand up and stop you, and then we'll leave 15 minutes for questions and answers. So prepare your questions and answers. Don't hesitate if you have nasty questions. This is what this is about. Monica, I think do you have a mic or no?
No. Okay. Perfect. So, oh no, there is another presentation. So, yeah, perfect. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our session. I'm Monica Ardeleanu. I'm the Research Director of Romania Green Building Council. We are an NGO, a businesses association, who is coordinating SMARTER4EU project. I'm here with our partners, Eva MERHEIM-EYRE and VOLODYMYR SMOLII, and we will present you our project, which missions is on improving citizens' lives and energy security through EU taxonomy-aligned green homes and green finance. And I will start with some questions that we are addressing to everyone, but when we interrogate about this transition to green homes, how should it happen? And can it be fast? Our answer, it has to be fast, because Europe is facing one of the biggest energy crises, and we need to move quickly. We need to act immediately. Last winter, more than 40 million people were not able to heat their homes properly, so we don't have time to waste. It can be perfect. It has to be perfect, because just a reduction of 30% of energy consumption, it's not enough. We need to aim high, we need to be ambitious. We need homes that are not only improving energy efficiency, but also implementing green criteria that are EU taxonomy aligned at minimum and address do not significant harm principles. So climate mitigation was mentioned before, but climate adaptation is also has to be embodied in this certification system. Circular economy, biodiversity, water reduction, and so on, can be affordable. And here it's where the finance comes, because most of the people cannot afford to renovate their homes properly. They cannot afford to buy a green home. So we need financial solutions. We need to leverage the public investments by attracting private investments, private finance solution and hybrid finance solution, especially for the vulnerable families. And because there it's absolutely necessary to discount the mortgage rate, to subsidize the mortgage interest rates, and also to guarantee the loans in order to have access to green finance. Brief history, we started in 2007 with a pilot test with 2 banks in Romania. Then we've worked with Green Building Council in developing green home certification. In 2019, we started the first SMARTER project funded by Horizon 2020. And then in 2023, this year, we started the continuation of this project through LIFE program, Clean Energy Transition, SMARTER4EU. But what is a green mortgage? Everyone is wondering how it works. So here we explain who are the main stakeholders involved. So the project developer that wants to differentiate and come on the market with a high-quality project, exemplary energy performance, environmental performance, and is coming to the certifiers. In our case, in Romania, was Romania Green Building Council, who are assisting them from the design phase up to during the construction phase to the reception of the building to ensure that all the green criteria are implemented. Then we have the bank partners, a participating bank that is offering discounted interest rates for green homes projects. So we offer to the bank the guarantee that all these criteria were implemented, that the projects are EU taxonomy aligned, so they are eligible for green finance. The bank can choose to finance the developers, so offering green development loans, and also to finance the home buyers who are having access to green mortgages. The home buyer is buying a better home with financial benefits because they have a discounted interest rate. Also, very high energy efficiency, so a reduction of up to 70% of the energy cost, and other green criteria that are making the home healthier and sustainable. We are working closely also with the home buyers because it's very important also for them to understand the benefits, so the education process that is coming after and the monitoring of their homes, and help them change the behavior in order to obtain the same performance during the operating phase of the building. The most important aspect of implementing a green home and green mortgage program was to understand this paradigm shift in terms of the total cost of ownership. So looking only at the mortgage payments is not enough. We need to take in consideration the energy cost, the health cost, and repair cost. When we look at all this, we understand how beneficial it is to have a green home. We prepare some financial examples in collaboration with our bank partners, where was actually shown that by reducing energy consumption to up to 70%, comparative with a standard home in Romania, the home buyers were able to pay 2 mortgage payments only through the energy savings. These are the unusual aspects of a green home. I will not enter in details, but it's exemplary energy efficiency, green energy, indoor air quality that makes the homes healthier, sustainable healthy materials, location, bioclimatic design, climate adaptation, all the green criteria that made that home EU taxonomy aligned. These are some examples of green homes from Bucharest. So as you can see, the level of ambition is high. This is one of the few NZEP buildings in Bucharest. So it's this is what we support through the green homes and green mortgage programs. And in terms of renovation, we don't have so many examples. This is an example from Dublin, but the level of ambition has to be high. In order to be eligible to green finance, we encourage a minimum 80% reduction in energy use and reduction of CO2 emissions. So Smarter Finance for Families promoted this implementation of green homes and green mortgages program mainly in the East European countries. We developed toolkits for financial institutions in Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Poland, Georgia, Bosnia-Herzegovina. So we were focusing on raising an awareness of importance of developing these kind of programs. This was an initial consortium with 17 partners from 15 countries. We ended with 22 partners from 20 countries, even outside from Europe. Some of the results of First Smarter program. So we have 14 green homes and green mortgage program launched. 32,000 homes representing 8.5 billion euros residential project value in the program. And we also conducting extensive research and develop tools to promote the concept. These are the 14 bank partners that we engaged so far, and we signed partnership agreements, and they are offering green finance solutions. Some of the lessons learned. So one was the deliverables have to be streamlined because we have over 60 deliverables, so it was a lot of time consuming. And in the new Smarter Finance4EU, we've reduced the number of deliverables and we focus more on updated some of the research instead of rewriting everything. Support each other's communication. So even if we exceed the communication targets, we thought it's still not enough. We need more communication, more dissemination. So with the new project, we will develop a portal dedicated to green homes and green finance. And we also work closely with our partners to reach people, to reach end users. The minimum viable product, this is for new partners that are implementing green homes and green mortgage program. They don't have to wait to have the perfect product, but start approaching the market, have a minimum viable product will help them engage the stakeholders, the banks particularly, and the project developers. Sorry, but green home solution providers was also a very key stakeholder that was difficult to engage, but they are strategically important in order to arrive to the end users, and also in terms of renovation, because the green home solution providers can have their own partnership with the banks in order to promote green deep renovations. Some of the challenges was to raise a level of ambition. We started in Romania, and we know that everyone is saying it's impossible, we cannot go so high, but that is important. We cannot stop at the minimum requirements of the national legislation. We have to go beyond that. We need exemplary projects. We need to demonstrate that it can be done, that we can have carbon neutral buildings now. End users, it's still difficult because they are still not understanding the benefits of a green home. It's a lot to do here, and we will focus more on raising awareness. Renovations are still difficult, especially deep renovation, because they are not cost effective, too expensive, and also the banks, as we've heard this morning, they are not willing to lend to condominiums. They are lending to some single-family homes, but it's still a lot to do there, and it's there where we need hybrid finance solution and support from the municipalities. Combat greenwashing, and this is also a big challenge. We know we have a directive in progress on greenwashing, so when we call a project green or we call a financial product green, we have to be very careful because it's not only energy efficiency, we have EU taxonomy in place, we have the no significant harm principles, so we really have to take in consideration all these criteria. So these challenges will be addressed in the Smarter Finance for the EU, the new LIFE project, in which we have 9 partners from 7 countries. We have 3 new implementing countries, Spain, Portugal, and Ukraine. And I am glad to be here with Eva MERHEIM from Habitat for Humanity International that will give you some insights on the outcomes of the new project.
Lovely. Thank you, Monica. Well, you've already gave a great summary with so many details about what we've been doing so far. So I'll try to be fast and give you just a short overview of where we are now in the current phase of the project. So obviously, the most important thing is that we are really trying to look at this project in the context of the ongoing war in Ukraine. So the energy resilience through meeting EU taxonomy standards is really in the core of the project, and we are also trying to keep this in mind while working with our Ukraine partners, and we are really grateful to have 2 organizations from Ukraine on board. When it comes to green certification, we really try to give guidance and confidence in the process with tested, planned and affordable solutions, which would work both for public and private developers of green housing. This part of the project is largely also building on the previous SMARTER, especially when it comes to research. And as you already said, we are updating this project with some of the new partners, but also we try to formalize some of the processes and some of the services we've been offering. The stress in this part of the project is on a capacity building. And when I mentioned the formalizing, this concerns especially the European Center of Excellence. We are trying to put together a legal entity and an online one-stop shop, which would give the information we are currently providing in a little bit more formal way. So this legal entity will be here to assist not only banks, funds, developers, but also citizens and public bodies. And we are going to support them in their journey to green housing projects. I'll just move to the next slide. What? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. How much shall I? No. Okay. Can you maybe help me? Like you seem to be very, skilled. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much. Yeah. So 100 billion euro is our target. It's a big number. It's what we estimate a total worth of project value of projects which are going to be certified during this phase of SMARTER, or projects which will have a signed agreement about green certification at the end of the SMARTER, which means in May 25. So it's an ambitious goal. However, we are quite confident reaching this number. As you may know, we started with 2 banks. Currently, we do work with 14 banks, 14 partner banks. We also had a lot of research done in the previous phase. So as actually the founder of our project said, now it's for us to time to actually talk to people, and it's been called a get things done project. So we are really focusing a lot of time and energy in this phase in individual cooperation with interested partners. I could also say that, Thank you. what we are quite proud of is the visibility of the project we reached so far. You may know that we've been one of the nominees of USEF prizes in the previous years, and we hope to grow this profile even more with the Center of Excellence. And as I said previously, we also feel that in this stage, the level of focus on these issues and the level of urgency is somehow different than in 2019 when we started. Again, the energy security and resilience situation in Europe due to the war in Ukraine, we think that it really translated into greater political support for sustainable energy and housing standards. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so our certification, we are our plan and our pledge is to align our processes with EU green taxonomy. Especially the non-green criteria related to do no harm principle in the taxonomy. And when it comes to this process, we are really trying to look at our whole operations. So starting with our tools, documentation, but also human resources, education resources. We gave ourselves a pledge to offer this service fully aligned or maybe even exceeding the EU taxonomy until the start of the next year. So at the beginning of 2024, we are going to be in the pilot stage of this process, and in the pilot stage we are going to offer services fully aligned with the EU taxonomy. Thank you so much. Yeah, so now I'd like to tell you a little bit more about this special part, maybe an odd animal in this project. We do have a part focused on affordable housing and vulnerable families. Whereas the largest part of SMARTER is focused on this connection between the developers and banks, SMARTER being the connecting link between the two. In the part which is focused on hybrid funding for projects for vulnerable families, we are trying to connect quite a lot of different kinds of stakeholders, the NGO stakeholders, the EU funding, the funding of municipal developers, and bring together all these stakeholders who would be able to find the right mix, the right blend of public and private funding in order to create projects for vulnerable families, so let's say social housing or affordable housing projects, which are going to stick to highly energy efficient green standards. And I will finish with this slide because my colleague is going to talk about this topic a little bit more. But as Monica already said, one of our key beneficiaries when it comes to support for developers of affordable housing are municipalities and local governments. We do offer a variety of services and support for them, starting with online education, independent individual consultations for specific projects. We are also planning to put together a catalog of good practices which could be used especially in Ukraine. And all this is also going to be supported by international advocacy campaign, and I believe VOLODYMYR will talk a little bit more about this in detail. Thanks.
Thanks, Eva, and now it's my part. My name is VOLODYMYR. I represent the Association of Energy Efficient Cities of Ukraine. It's one of two members of our consortium, which Eva mentioned in her part of presentation. And as you understand, I will speak about Ukrainian specific needs and conditions and our goals, which we want to reach in this country, because they are really specific because of situation. But first of all, because of being Ukrainian and to take the opportunity to be there, I want to say the word of thanks to you everyone as a representative of different nations and countries of Europe for standing with Ukraine in that dark times. Thank you so very much. And let's speak about our specific goals for Ukraine in this project. As you can see in that slide, that's what we are working with before the war started in 2022, 24th of February, and our main problem was the sector of old Soviet residential buildings, because 85% of all sector of residential buildings in Ukraine was built in the Soviet times, and it's very low level of energy efficiency. But also the level of energy efficiency norms in the current Ukrainian legislative was and still is not so high as in European countries. And to make possible change in this sector, the Ukrainian state bodies, different projects, NGOs like us worked in particular on creating different financial instruments. And one of the goals of our project was and still is to create the condition of developing in Ukraine of such instrument, which is the green mortgages. Because we had the State Energy Efficiency Fund, which provides some money for energy efficiency reconstruction of old houses. But we are really in new reality right now. Next slide, please. Where we have the problem of low level of energy efficiency of existing residential house is not the biggest problem. Now we have to deal with the reality in which we have about 200,000 private and apartment buildings destroyed or damaged as a result of the war. This is more in the eastern, southern and northern part of Ukraine, which is very industrial and urbanized. And that's why, Monica, next. And we have to deal with about 5 million people which are internally displaced in Ukraine, which lost their housing in the eastern and southern part of Ukraine, and most of them are really vulnerable peoples which need new houses because they will never back in their cities in the eastern part of Ukraine. And really, as we think about the situation in Ukraine, about market of building new houses, we can say that we had the hot and really urgent need in housing in all the rest regions of Ukraine which are not affected by the war, and mostly in the western part. And our project is truly in time and relevant to Ukrainian needs in this field. Next one. First of all, what is our plan for Ukraine? We, as one of the members of the consortium, together with our other Ukrainian partner, European Ukrainian Energy Agency, will work for the capacity building first of all, and let's build green campaign. We are engaging new municipalities to this initiative. In such way, we are creating the society of advocates for local and state policy making. Also, we can say that proposed by SMARTER4EU and related certification framework is really ready for immediate implementation in Ukraine as a tool to achieve near zero energy building housing. We are going to provide support through our help desk and European Center of Excellence to ensure residential projects can be designed and built to near zero energy building standards quickly with low costs to government, donors, and most importantly for citizens. And it in general leads us to our second goal, the energy security. Next one, please. Energy security from the lowest level, it's a residence where they have the needs and ability to consume less energy to provide comfort in their homes. And as a result, lower energy bills. We will move on the second level, it's municipal level, in which we are working actively. It's the prevention of energy poverty at the municipal level and possibility to develop self-sufficient municipal energy clusters. And we are moving to the highest level, state level, where our state in general needs to decrease the energy consumption of traditional energy and reduce dependence of imported energy sources. And when I say important, you understand what I mean and what country use the energy as a weapons, not only against Ukraine. And the last one, what we are currently doing. No, one more time. Yes, we are working mostly now in the capacity building. I want to proud that our first activity was the municipal courses, which we launched about 2 weeks ago. And the first course was for municipal officials, municipal specialists, and we hope to engage about 10, 15 participants, but we have 14 on the first course, and total number of people who registered for the next course is about 100. So it shows the interest of Ukrainian people, Ukrainian specialists in developing this topic. Also, it's a cooperation with higher educational institutions because part of our participants represented some higher institutions, educational, and they will train the specialists in the field of architecture and construction, the people which we will need for this topic in the future. And also is the advocacy of modernization of national legislative base and different norms which we need for near zero energy building in our country. Our goals are ambitious, but we are optimistic in reaching all the deliverables, and if you are interested too, we welcome you for cooperation. Maybe that's all from my side. Thank you for attention. Me and my colleagues will be happy to answer your question. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for giving us this really interesting insight into what's going on in Ukraine and how you're preparing reconstruction already now. So now it's time for questions and answers. Maybe I'm going to start with 2 short questions. One for clarification, which is what is the 100 billion euros that you were mentioning compared to the 8.5 billion euros? That is just a clarification question. And then my second question is whether you're seeing whether you think that you were talking about the EU taxonomy for sustainable finance, whether that is what's bringing also banks to work more with you, and if you can explain also concretely how you're developing the partnerships in the different countries operationally, and also whether the Center of Excellence that you're planning to develop, you said a one-stop shop that would be online, and whether you think that, what would that be, a completely virtual one-stop shop?
So maybe, Monica, I will leave you to the question regarding the banks, and I can start in the meantime answering the question of money. So the 8.5 billion is the current point where we left things when or that's kind of the result of smarter finance for families of the previous phase. These projects are already existing and the contracts has been signed. The 100 billion is the target we are planning or envision to meet in May 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, Monica, do you need more time or?
No problem. Yes, we know it's very ambitious, but we think it can be achieved because. Talking about the banks are interested right now to have to lend money to green projects. There is a high interest, and they want to have the guarantee that these projects are EU taxonomy aligned because they have to report on it. So that's why when we look at the provisions of the banks for the next years, we see that they expect that they will lend 5, 6, 8 times more on green projects. So that's why we think this target can be achieved. And this is a main trigger in partnering with the bank. At the beginning it was more difficult because we hadn't EU taxonomy. So it's very difficult to engage the banks. We had only 2 pioneering banks in Romania. But then the banks come to us, and as they don't have that technical expertise on energy efficiency, on green criteria, they need organizations in each country that can help them navigate the EU taxonomy criteria, and there where our role is. And in all the countries that are involved, we're going to provide this assistance. More than that, the European Center of Excellence will be a new legal entity, probably based in Brussels, that will provide assistance to all the European banks on EU taxonomy, on green homes, how these are eligible or not for green finance, and this is what we emphasize. And we'll have also a virtual one stop, but I will let you talk about this for the portal.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't think that we still have such a clarity on how the portal is going to look like. But I think one of the things where we feel that there's actually interest is are, for instance, these online courses for municipalities or especially for staffers in public institutions who do not always have the resources to come to Brussels or go to different conferences. So that's maybe something we learned. I mean, something quite low-key and boring and maybe not as surprising, but in the previous space we've been working with municipalities in the Western Balkans. We saw that a lot of key workers, let's say in the planning department, might be people who are quite switched on, quite interested in this topic, but perhaps for either the political reasons or the financial reasons, they do not have enough support to access this type of education. So that's why we feel that the website might help a little bit. And maybe also on the question, yes. Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Extremely important because it would be our way to communicate with the citizens, one place where they can go and learn which are the benefits of a green home, why should I invest, what finding can I find, where I can look, which banks are offering this kind of green financial solutions. So yes, this is how we would like to create it. It's still in process, so will be launched next year.
Thanks a lot. Questions now. I see you were first, and there was somebody in the back. Can you just when you ask a question, can you just say who you are, who you work for? And no statements, please, just questions.
Hi, thanks for your presentations. My name is Jolijn Schorel and I work in Utrecht region, the Netherlands. And I was wondering if you are encountering or how you're dealing with national legislation and regulation on the amount of mortgage homeowners can get, although maybe the banks would want to offer it. So how does, like the total cost of ownership sheet you showed, is this completely seen also and calculated for in the national legislation and regulations?
Questions in a row, and then we'll answer them.
Hello, my name is Matilda Johnson. I'm from the city of Copenhagen, and I work specifically to further renovation of the existing building stock. So I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about your experience with supporting renovations. I know you said it was more complicated, but we're looking increasingly at embedded carbon and trying to stop new builds and move more towards transformation and renovation. So I'm just interested to hear your perspectives on that.
One last question,
yes.
And then you'll answer.
Hello, Lucina Kashishian, European Mortgage Federation. Just a quick question, because as you mentioned, consumer is the most important here. So they need to be provided with knowledge and information. It's just since I see that you're mostly focusing on the Eastern market, we found out that actually the trust is much lower on the Eastern market. And do you plan to focus on that? Because between Netherlands and, for example, Romania, there is, from our consumer research, we can clearly see that this is a problem, the trust to financial institutions. So yeah, that's my question.
Thanks. Okay, do you want to start maybe with the first, answering the first question and the cost of occupancy and how that's taken into account by banks?
Yes, so very good questions, thank you. So actually we took in consideration that we've talked to the banks and we asked them if they could include the energy savings as additional revenue when they lend money. They said, oh, we cannot do this because the regulatory system doesn't allow us. We went to the National Bank of Romania and we've asked, is it possible to discuss this, how we can help the banks to take in consideration the energy savings. And the answer that we received from the National Bank of Romania was that they are allowed to do it. So it's not that, it's just a question of their commercial policy, if they want to consider it or not. So we went back to the banks and explained, look, it's not a regulatory problem, at least in Romania. You could do it. We encouraged them to do it. They still didn't do it, but at least they offer a discounted rate for to the people that are taking right now a green mortgage. It's something that we hope it would happen soon, because as you said, it's very important. It's additional income. And the banks prepared the financial model where they show that 2 mortgage payments are paid by the energy savings. So it's come naturally. It should happen. Is in Netherlands happening? It's considered, or you have restriction from the National Bank? Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yes, the second question was on renovation. Yes, it was really difficult. So we had so far only one bank that was offering renovation loans. And they explained that for them, condominium was quite impossible, so they were working only with single-family homes. But to be honest, in the last 2 months, we saw an increased interest for the renovation. Some of the bank partners contacted us and they said, look, we want to develop a green renovation loan, but has to be green, and please help us understand which kind of solution could we finance through this green renovation loan, and which solution we could have as partners to help promoting the products, because the appeal from the end user is very low. As you said, and this connected to the following question, in the Eastern European countries, the trust in financial institutions is low. So people don't want to get into a mortgage, or they don't want to take a renovation loan, because especially if there is a mortgage on it, because they are afraid that they're going to lose their homes. But if there is some support from the state, like guarantees, and I think EBRD is right now offering these kind of guarantees for some green renovation loans, subsidized interest rate. This is something that we proposed to the Ministry of Investment in European funds in Romania through a consultation process. It's still not happening, but we were highly involved in REPowerEU when it was designed for Romania, and what we proposed to subsidize interest rates for the renovation loans, and also to offer vouchers of a certain amount just to raise the interest of the people to start, and then in combination with renovation loan, this could work, I think. There was another question.
Yeah, well, there was a last question on trust, but
on trust,
don't know if you want to say more.
But maybe also you want to say something on this? No. Yeah, because also Ukraine is okay.
Okay. Do we have more questions in the room? Okay, I see one, and then Dragomir.
Yes, thank you, Volodymyr, and the rest for the presentation. I'm Victoria Tsagano from VPIE. My question was about the ambition level of NZEB. I was a bit surprised of it, because this is the minimum requirement from 2020 for EU member states, and the Ukraine is now a candidate and it's towards about to become a member. And with the new directive, it will even be ZEB requirement, zero emission buildings, instead of the old NZEB. So my question is, aren't these like green loans supposed to encourage positive energy buildings that go beyond minimum requirements and beyond like business as usual? And my second question is for Monica. Which certification do you use for these multiple benefits that you mentioned, like indoor environment quality, sustainable materials, water use, etc.? Like, what do you use to certify the buildings? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. First of all, I can say that the creation of the instrument of green mortgages and the hybrid financing in the field of building of new residential houses in Ukraine, it's quite a different and complicated goal. But anyway, in this condition, in war condition, is extremely, extremely complicated. But it's really the possibility for revitalization of state banking system and state economy. Because currently in Ukraine, we have no traditions of loan financing of different building projects. For example, for developers. So developers usually building the houses for their own money, without using any loan programs of state or private banks. And at the same time, people who need these houses looking for the cheapest price because they also buying for their own money. If our state will propose them, with our help, some new instruments for developers, it's the green loan programs. If you build a greenhouse, so you can take this green loan. And for example, for our people who need houses, for example, people looking for about 500 euros per square meter, and greenhouse will be cost, for example, 600 for a square meter. But for this 600 will be provided the state mortgage guaranteed, and the level of trust, for sure, it's very low, but we will try to speak also through the communication between our association and our members of the association, municipalities, which we are working closely with their people, and we'll try to explain them all the benefits of that program. So these goals are very ambitious, and our goal as an association and a member of the consortium is to make the project result maximum practical for Ukraine, and that's why we're putting some ambitious goals and trying to reach them. Thank you.
Ah.
There was one more for Monica.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, thank you for the question. Actually, regarding NZEB, you are right. In Romania, actually, because we hadn't a methodology for NZEB, until this year was not mandatory to build NZEB. So it started right now to be mandatory to conform with NZEB. But what I've said, why is important to be EU taxonomy aligned? Because we go beyond NZEB, we have to be more efficient, 10% more NZEB. So encourage this transition to zero carbon buildings. In the green and this takes me to the other question of the certification. In the green certification that we are reviewing right now to make them eligible for EU taxonomy and green finance, we have mandatory LCA, which actually the EPBD is requiring right now. So it's happening, and we ask LCAs also on the previous project that were completed in the last years. Was something new, but we were pioneers. We wanted to show to the market that it can be done. Regarding the certification, we developed a national certification, Green Home Certification by Romania Green Building Council, that it implemented all these criteria. We are reviewing right now all the criteria, including climate adaptation, because this is the only thing that was missing, actually, to be fully EU taxonomy aligned. And starting January, we can say the Green Home Certification is really compliant with all these requirements, do not significant harm, and so on. We are also looking at the alignment of levels of the European framework for sustainable buildings, which also take in consideration for benchmarking. In Ireland, we have the high performance index, which is also is a standard that they are using for homes. In Spain, we have Verde, and they will also be fully aligned with the EU taxonomy. In Portugal, we are developing a new certification system for green homes that will replicate our Romanian system, so we are proud of it. And Ukraine as well will replicate the Romanian system. But we have also here Bulgaria, so I'm seeing Dragomir, that was one of our partners in the previous SMARTER. They also developed a certification. So all the countries have their own certification, and the target is to be EU taxonomy aligned at minimum and exceed. I hope I receive, maybe you will ask me why not LEED or BREEAM or other standards. We are open to all the certifications, but we need to check that they are aligned with EU taxonomy. So when a project arrives to the European Center of Excellence, they will prepare a report on the alignment of EU taxonomy that will submit to the banks in order to provide that guarantee that the green finance is rewarding the greenest project, not just a Class A, that right now a Class A, and we have examples in Romania as well, is just compliant with the legislation. It's not for a new building. It's not something that it's supporting the transition. So we need this shift that we hope is going to happen soon.
A quick question, and first of all, a statement. It's a fantastic scheme, and that's the statement. So congratulations. But the question is, what type of qualification, what level of qualification and skills are needed for the certifiers? And where do you find these certifiers? Because the skills market is very limited currently, and you're expanding the scheme with climate adaptation, other parameters that have to be followed in order to provide quality certification, and that's also means to guarantee the quality of the certification itself, because if we compromise on the quality, we are losing the market. So how do we approach that? And isn't it a time for a training course on for certifiers?
Yes, it's true. Actually, in Romania, we started to accreditate certifiers. They go through a comprehensive training program, an exam, and at the end, they become certifiers. So it's not just us. There are other organizations that can certify this kind of projects, but we still keep the verification, the audit sides, because quality assurance is very important. The new Center of Excellence will provide quality assurance for all the projects in Europe. So it's going to be even more transparent and independent than it is right now, because it's not of a local level. Another country can audit, like an auditor, a certifier, an auditor from Ireland could audit a project in Romania or in Spain. And so that it ensures a quality control that regarding the criteria. And on the question on capacity building, we just launched this training program where more than 40 Ukrainians joined. Is a comprehensive program of 8 courses in English on green homes, on the financial consideration of a green home, on green building management, the green building design principles. And the end of these 8 courses, they will they pass an exams after each course, but another exam for the accreditation. So we will be able to accreditate certifiers in Ukraine. We have it in Romania and other countries like Bulgaria, for example. If you are interested in these courses, you can definitely accreditate your own certifications in Bulgaria. And this will help develop the program, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. Hans Ryan from CINEA, European Commission. Thanks very much for the very inspiring presentation. I think it's very good for the great ambition that you have as well. And we'll check that you achieve these as well, because you said it can be done. So we want to make sure that you actually do it. And thanks very much. So I'll definitely check. I'm very happy as well that Volodymyr made it safely from Ukraine. So I'm very happy that you're here. My question is very, very, very short. And I saw that you scaled up from 2 banks. I don't know which ones were the initial ones to 14. The question, why these 14s? And I saw more the bigger banks there. So why the bigger banks? Are you also targeting smaller banks and national banks? Is that an aim? That's all I wanted to hear. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for the question. Yes, we started with Raiffeisen Bank, was the first bank that joined the program in 2007. Actually, it was the one that also gave a statement at the Sustainable Energy Investment Forum and also joined all the Sustainable Investment Forum roundtables in Romania. They were promoting with us this concept. After Raiffeisen, we had Alpha Bank joining that was also giving renovation loans. So it was actually very good. The other banks came later. There are big banks, it's true. We tried also with the smaller banks, but we were not so successful. The biggest banks, they have more capacity of lending, probably. What we have looked when we asked, for example, how much they lended. Some of them, big banks, can say 50 million euros we've lended, others 3 million euros. So with the small banks, it's more difficult, and we thought we're going to have a higher impact working with the big banks. Also, the big banks need to train their people on EU taxonomy, so they need our support. They come to us for assistance. That was the reason, but we don't exclude the small banks if they are interested to work with us, to have a partnership. It's a free partnership. It's no cost for the bank. And also we offer free assistance many times. So yeah, only the trainings will be, some of them free, some will be, yes, a fee, but we'll see in the future with the new Center of Excellence.
All right, well, thanks a lot. I think, I mean, just to wrap up, because we need to close and then lunch is waiting for you. But I think, I mean, I must say I've witnessed this initiative for almost 10 years now. And this is really, it's really picking up. And I'm really happy to see how you've been able to really raise the level of ambition in the construction sector, starting really from Romania, Central Eastern Europe, and then, you know, it's also raising interest in Western Europe, in Ireland and in Spain and Portugal, which shows that, and yes, the fact that the bigger banks are interested shows that it's making sense for them. Yeah. And surely that the taxonomy and the whole change in the finance sector is bringing, you know, wind in your sails. But I think I'd like to say that, you know, this initiative has really made a change, and it shows also, I mean, the discussions, the questions that are raised shows that there's still a long way to go, you know, to build the capacity of banks, of auditors, in the construction sector, in the developers. I mean, there's still a lot of things that need to be done, but well, it looks like a very promising and quite a good work to do in the coming years. Yes. So if you can please give them a round of applause. And well, the conference is not over. Now is lunchtime. You can ask all the questions you didn't want to ask in public, and chat with other participants. And the next sessions will be starting, I think, at 1:30. So enjoy.